Good morning, April 9th, 2024, 9 a.m. I'm going to start right off with this B-Link startup out-of-box experience, we'll call it. Got an audio confirmation. Whoops, I don't have, where do I not have SpeakerBot? Yeah, there it is. It is open, it just wasn't at the right position. So SpeakerBot should be functional now. Somebody will give that a test for me. Check and make sure it's logged in. Yes. And prepared to, oh, the repeats are not enabled. I'll enable the repeat, so in 2 minutes we should get those messages. Hello there, thank you Zvi and John.
Hello.
Ran Israel comes in with a hello. Let's see, who else is there? There's Alice and Martin Hogg, Ran Israel, Selden Ball, Jeff Ryman, Zvi Menor. I think I covered all those names. And I'll position this back where it belongs and then go turn on this B-Link computer. That's the one that I unpackaged, I think on Saturday, maybe it was, or yesterday. And it is, I showed it yesterday on the Amazon listing. It's this low-end B-Link. It's not the lowest because it's 16 gigabytes of memory.
I'm Groot.
Hello, Martin Groot. At one point in time, I thought these little mini computers that I was going to mount them most likely on the backup monitors, and I've since rethought that because that means when somebody wants to press the power button to turn on, they've got to reach behind their monitors. And I have a couple of these out there already sitting on people's desks. I think that's going to be the way to go. Now, the other things that were in the box for this was a bracket for mounting on the VESA connectors on the back of the monitor. You only need to screw in 2 of them, and then these 2 connect to the back of the computer itself. I think I said that right. And I like this a lot. They come with 2 HDMI cables. One is very short in case you're mounting the computer on the back of the monitor, and the other was a little bit longer. I guess that's probably about 3 feet, maybe 2 feet, for a computer that's just sitting on the desk. And there's SpeakerBot repeating messages. I'll turn those off so they stop repeating. Let's see here, if I push my Capture 2 button, I don't think you're going to see anything there. Yeah, oh, somebody did a Vanishing Doug. Brian Lightfoot did that. And I'll just press the power button and then switch it back to that connection, and we'll see what we get. Now, I have it connected to the internet. I have an Ethernet cable plugged in. I'm intending to create a local account. It's no big deal to do that, even if you're connected to the internet. So there's the power button on, and we'll see it come up on screen here pretty soon. Should be. I've got everything right. I see a power light. There we go. I have some emails to respond to, and there's one channel comment I'll respond to. And if you have any questions in the chat room that we can address today, if anybody's having trouble, it's better to ask that sooner than later. Here we go. Oh, keyboard and mouse. English, please. And let's see, should I turn off my picture-in-picture so you can see what's going on? Let's try that. United States. Alice asks, is it possible to take OneDrive off of Windows 10? Yes. Go into AppWiz, Windows key R, type appwiz.cpl, and just uninstall OneDrive. I've done it many times. Is this the right keyboard layout? Yes. US. Want to add a second keyboard? I will skip that. Checking for updates through the internet. Alice asks if is OneDrive important? Well, only if you're using it. I like it a lot for synchronizing the user profile files, which would be your documents folder and pictures folder, video folders, and desktop. So if you're not using it, if you're not intentionally using it, then it's no problem to uninstall it. You're welcome, Alice. She says it's bugging your games. Yeah, that's enough reason to take it off, as long as you have some method of backing up your files, the files that you care about. As long as you're doing something. And now if you don't have any files on your computer that you really care about, if your computer crashes today, would you be upset about having lost some files? Yes, you're upset about having to fix it, but would you be upset about losing files? And if not, then yeah, uninstall OneDrive, that's fine. Rand Israel says 24H2 for Windows 11 is shaping up to be an interesting update, and it's not released to the public yet, so it's just in preview mode. That doesn't mean that everything that you see there now is going to wind up being released to the public.
Read chat, please.
I see read chat from Rand Israel's got a link there for me. I'm going to come to that in a little bit here.
Rand Israel's in your contacts.
I don't know why she thought that I wanted to call Rand Israel. I'm going to stick with this for now to show the startup of this computer while connected. The original link was too long, so I shortened it, Rand Israel says. All right. Now let me go through this. Shouldn't take long at all. Rand doesn't take calls from Apple. So we're going to accept the license agreement. Had something to do with firstborn child, I'm not sure. And then I'm going to skip the device name. Hello, Carl J. Now we got, how would you like to set up this device for personal use or for work or school? Now, if you have a Windows 11 home, I don't believe you're going to get this question because that's going to be personal use, but this is Windows 11 Pro. Actually, I didn't know that for certain. I was pretty sure that I got one that has Windows 11 Pro, but now that I see this has to be Pro because otherwise we wouldn't be doing work or school. This is on Windows 11 Pro, this is the technique that I prefer to use for doing a local account, because we're going to claim that we're going to log into a domain, a Windows domain, which we're not. We're going to lie. We're going to intentionally lie. That's the easy peasy way to do it with Windows 11 Pro. If you have Windows 11 Home and it's automatically going to the personal use, it's going to ask you for an email address because I am connected to the internet. And what you can do is just type in a@a.com. And that is a special address that Microsoft recognizes as a backdoor. And then what you're going to wind up doing is it'll ask you for a local username. You'll be able to get what you want. So here we do this. Set up for work or school, click next. And here it's asking for a Microsoft account, and I'm going to click on sign in options instead of doing that. And I'm going to say domain join instead. I want to join a domain. I'm not actually going to join this computer to a domain. I am lying to Microsoft Windows. How fulfilling and enjoyable is that? And then right now it asks us for a username. I'm going to use the word admin and then click next. And then I'm not going to do any password until later. When I deliver to the client, I will have a password on that. Location, I'm going to leave that as yes. Find my device, I'm going to leave that as yes. I have been in past videos turning off optional data. I'm going to leave it on because I'm interested in experimenting with that feature in Smart App Protection, I think it's called in Windows 11, that you have to use optional data in order for that to work. Inking and typing, I routinely turn that off. I just want to lighten the load. I don't know if it's actually doing anything with that. Tailored experiences, I flip-flop with. Advertising ID, I flip-flop with. I'll leave those on in this case. Checking for updates. Looking over here at chat. Rand Israel says, interesting, sometimes the device name screen appears in the out-of-box experience and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. I don't know when that, what determines why that comes up in some cases and not others. Randy Israel says he's going to join a domain later, much later. How about that solar eclipse yesterday, huh? I did not see it. I was here at my desk. I mentioned it yesterday during the show. I didn't set myself any alarms. Totally forgot. Asked me if I was upset when I realized I forgot. Nah. Please keep your PC on and plugged in. Keep your arms inside the car. Do not stick your hand out while the roller coaster is going around the dangerous rails. Greg M., I saw the last solar eclipse here back in 1979. It was a cool event. Yeah, block out part of the sun. I guess it's going to be cool. The 35% eclipse for much of California was very disappointing, Brian Lightfoot says. Yeah, I think you'd have to be using some technique to be able to look at it either with special glasses or use the paper trick where you do a pinhole in a piece of paper and hold it over another piece of paper or the ground, and you can see the shape of the sun. Okay, there we are. Done deal. Local account. Go take a look at system. We've got N100 800 megahertz CPU, 16 gigabytes of RAM, Windows 11 Pro. It's 21H2 that it came with. Let's go to disk management. It's a 500 gigabyte drive just by looking at those numbers. If we come over here and right click on go to properties, and then see what I want to see here. It's a GPT partition type. All right, that's pretty much as far as I was planning to go with that computer, unless you have specific questions about it. I'll bring chat up on screen. Switch keyboard and mouse. And see what these links were about. Here's Wintermute with a link. Turn off, disable, uninstall OneDrive. Yeah, so I'll just go ahead and do my usual technique is Windows key R and then appwiz.cpl to get into the programs and features window. If you don't want to bother remembering that, then go, well, this is Windows 11, of course. You can go Windows key and then settings. Let's see how well I can find my way to this, apps. And then installed apps is going to give you a list of apps. And if you find it in here, you could uninstall it. From here, I think there's a link somewhere to get to the old style add and remove programs. Another way to do it is to go to Control Panel, Windows key R, and then type Control space Panel, get to the old style Control Panel, and then it is not default programs, programs and features. Then come down, it's probably in the Microsoft section, and there's OneDrive right there, and you can just uninstall it. Carl J, hello. Ran Israel's link. Let's see, is it the same thing or something else? Tom's Hardware. Windows 11 24H2 block list contains more than just customization apps. Hardware ID, software, and driver blocks could keep you from getting the Microsoft AI-focused OS update. Third-party customization apps aren't the only thing, yada yada. We recently reported Microsoft is stifling third-party customization apps because we need another tech term, right? Stifling. Stifling? Stifling makes more sense, isn't it? That's stifling, isn't it? English, please. I'm just kind of scanning through that a little bit. I guess these are some apps that aren't that update doesn't like. Come back to chat, see if you're trying to direct my attention to anything specific in there. %, eclipse in Georgia was not really anything. If you're not using some special way of seeing the shape of the sun, it just dims a light a little bit. A couple of reports, 24H2 screwing with third-party apps resulting in black screens. Yeah, Zavi Minor reported that, I believe it was. I have his comment on my email notes. Do you run UC Win Optimizer on new computers? No, I do not. Uncle Carrie's Win Optimizer, not new computers. I do not. My reason for not doing it is I like to have more of a hands-on control of it, and I don't do it the same every time. So if I use the optimizer, then I found myself having to go in and pick and choose each item, and I just didn't find that I cared for it that much. And I do not like turning off indexing file contents. So it's a great tool if you want those adjustments. Do you uninstall bloatware like Carrie? The only time that I do anything with the software that comes on the computer is if I find, well, actually I should do this on that computer, right? Let's come over to this computer and get the right keyboard and mouse. What I'll do, I don't bother with the Windows apps. I don't bother with Solitaire and Spotify and Xbox and things like that because they're not actually running. What I do care about, they're not running in the background. What I do care about is how much is in here. If there's a bunch of stuff in here, stuff that's going to looks like it might be triggering pop-ups for them later, trying to get them to subscribe to something, then I'll either uninstall what I don't like from here, or I'll do a fresh Windows install. I have not got to the point that I actually go through this apps list, although I have done it on occasion. Come on, I'm kind of zoning out a little bit. Where do I want to go? Windows key apps. Yeah, apps and features. I have on occasion gone down this list and uninstalled items, but I just didn't find for the computers that I'm preparing for the end users that I'm dealing with, I haven't found that these were very important, except for Teams. Teams is on my checklist. I always uninstall Teams unless my client wants that. And I have a few other things that I will individually uninstall, but I don't spend the time to go through this whole list at this point in time. If I find that it is causing trouble, then that could change. Danielle, one YouTuber indicates Microsoft is intentionally blocking apps that modify Windows operations. Be interested to get something more specific on that. If you can actually give us a link to that, just because one YouTuber is saying something doesn't necessarily mean it's true or accurate, as we've seen many instances of that. Or even if it is true or accurate, is it important? So let me reconsider what she's saying. One YouTuber indicates Microsoft is intentionally blocking apps that modify Windows operation. So that would imply, to me, that statement implies things like the apps that will move the taskbar from the bottom of the screen to the top or to a side. Are they blocking that kind of a app? Are they blocking all apps that modify Windows operation? I highly doubt that. So I do think it cooled off a little. Chris says it's kind of like maybe clouds covering the sun. Maybe that much of a cooling. Lawn Dog says check Brightech 09, and there are others reporting on the same issues from their point of view. There may be something to do with a lawsuit in Europe against Microsoft. Yeah, there's no McAfee on that computer. Don't we like that? I've found that McAfee is oftentimes not present on a Pro edition. If the manufacturer is tailoring it, trying to aim towards a business environment, perhaps they're less likely to do that. Local account is much better than connecting your Windows account straight away. Yes. Even if you want to eventually have the Windows account attached, I'd rather connect the local account first, because that's going to determine the profile folder name. Then you can attach to a Microsoft account later and still have your original profile folder name. Speeds up the process. Microsoft's getting sued. Chris is happy about that. They peaked with Windows 7. They used to have a decent messaging platform with MSN. They took it away. I hate Teams. Nothing beats the original ICQ. ICQ. I know what ICQ is. What is ICQ? I'm not thinking that right off the top. Doug, later take a look at this. Well, it's about 3 seconds later than I'm reading that, so I'll go.
You're going to be gaming into your senior years. Learn more.
All right, so what do we got here? Microsoft syncs even lower. Tech link. Purchase made through some store links may provide compensation to Linus Media Group? Really? Oh, that if you're making purchases through their links. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. So this is a Linus et al. Video. I'll look at that later. Well, Chris got a laugh out of my ignorance about ICQ, I guess. This is going to be an interesting issue. Hopefully Windows Weekly tomorrow will hear more about it. You know, I'm going to move over to the emails that I have lined up for today. First, yeah, let me reconsider whether I want to do that one first. Now let's start with Sam Lazar first. Yeah, he's, as a follow-up, he says, thank you for being so helpful. I set up the laptop and the trackpad works without issues. I'm also going to report the issue to Lenovo, but I think they will only care if they make the Lenovo L15 Gen 1 with AMD Ryzen 4th Gen CPU. I initially thought when I had this issue, it was going to be like my Razer laptop where the trackpad only works once I have done all the system and app updates. I'm not going to go into further detail about what happened with that because if you've been following recent days, then you already know that. And then John Williams sent an email. Doug, I'm hoping you can see this post and share it on your next live stream. Thanks, John. This is from Madison, Craigslist.org, a Barbu extreme entry level budget Dell. I'm going to click that link and then bring that back up on screen. So here's this advertisement through Craigslist. Extreme entry-level budget Dell gaming computer, $280 from, I guess the ID is Baraboo. Can play games like Lethal Company, Minecraft, Grand Theft Auto, Fortnite, Ghost Raccoon, Sniper, Elite, yada, 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 yada. Claiming it runs all of these games. Does not claim how well it runs. Comes with 120-day hardware, part, and labor warranty, 20% off future labor. Telling us here how it's configured. Works great. Can include a free keyboard and mouse. It might. We're located in the same complex as Baraboo Family Auto. I guess that's why they came up with that name. It's a business name that they're using here. It appears to be a retail outlet of some sort. Computer Professor. Now, I think this link came in response to the conversation the other day about somebody advertising or computers on Craigslist and putting Windows 11 on unsupported hardware, and how do we feel about that? I looked over this and considered it. I said, you know what? I don't really have a problem with that. Here's the things about this. You're buying something off Craigslist. Anybody that doesn't know Craigslist is a buyer beware environment, you need to grow up. So Craigslist right away, buyer beware. Now, it claims Windows 11 Pro. It doesn't tell us in here whether it's unsupported hardware or not. I think that's right around the range where it is, where it may or may not be. I don't know that real well. That'll be, if Jim's in chat, he'll maybe make a comment on that, whether that's supported or not. But even if it's not, I don't really have much of a problem with this. This is somebody who is really catering to the very, very low end of the market. They very well could be making pretty decent margins off of this because this would be a computer they got very cheap or free, depending upon where they get them from. When it starts out with this title up here, Extreme Entry Level Budget. 4 words there. 4 words this person is giving to manage expectations.
7th gen is a no-go. 8th gen minimum.
Thank you, Jim. 7th gen is not supported for Windows 11. But right at the top here, these 4 words, I will say, okay, that's reasonable. Extreme entry level, not extreme performing, not extreme computer, not extreme gaming computer, extreme entry level budget. This is like screaming out at somebody. This is a very beginner environment. And how long will Windows 11 work on it? There may be a end in sight for that. So if this link was given to me expecting that I'm going to rip them apart, no. I think anyone that buys that, they should be a very extreme entry level. Those games might work, but not very good, maybe not very good resolution, maybe not very good frame rate. Some of them might work better than you might be thinking. It does have a video card in it, right? This is right there. It has a dedicated video card in it. Let's see what that is. So is that enough to justify calling it a extreme entry-level gaming computer? That's okay. I wouldn't go yelling at them about that. My opinion. Let's see, got those two. Now let's go to chat. Oh, it's 9:30. Is there anybody?
Will it run WordPerfect 5.1?
Yes, it
That's
will.
a video card for a server machine.
All right. Video card for a server machine. So what? It still is a dedicated video card on an extreme entry level. I don't even know where I should be looking at for this. Was a professional graphics card by AMD, launched August 12, 2014. It's got a cooling fan on it. I can't imagine that would be
Space Invaders again?
That it was for a server machine would make it not functional for gaming. It's certainly going to be functional, isn't it?
Probably 1 or 2 gigabyte card at max.
Yeah, so, but they, again, a very beginner. I'm not, there's 2 gigabytes, right? Yeah. Cheap computer. Coming back to, I wanted to go see if I had somebody to redirect to. Thoughts, prayers, best wishes to Ken Stout and family with his, since he did announce it on his show, his mother having a stroke yesterday. So please don't nag him for updates, just maybe best wishes or thinking of you in chat, something like that, or on his show. Comments on his video, things like that. But give him the space to deal with whatever's going on. Now, let's go to, I'm sure he wouldn't have a show himself. I'll see if Kerry Holzman has a show. Go look at the Kerry Holzman live. Not a show there. Okay, then coming back to my chat comments. A chat from Saturday where Wintermute was saying the smart app control is a Windows 11 thing. He was referring to smart screen settings under reputation-based protection. Some of it is Edge only though. So I have looked a little bit at that since then. I just wanted to acknowledge this from Wintermute. I do anticipate going back to look more at that. So I just wanted to acknowledge that comment. And because I didn't get to it yesterday. From yesterday's chat, Keith, what is the benefit of putting Windows 11 on an unsupported machine? Just to save money. Now, no benefit at all to do it now as opposed to waiting till when Windows 10 is no longer supported. If that's going to be your plan to keep a computer that is not Windows 11 supported, if you need to or want to keep that after Windows 10 is no longer supported, then the benefit obviously is that you don't have to buy a new computer. The only benefit I could see of doing it now is to see if it will work. So you could do a full image backup, which always do that anyway before doing anything major. Just always have image. You should always have image backups, in my opinion. It's not hard to do. But anyway, for why do it now is to go ahead and try to do the upgrade now or try to do the fresh install now, whichever way you're going to go, and see if your computer will do it at all. It's better to find out now than wait until Windows 10 is no longer supported, and then you're perhaps scrambling to find a way to move forward.
Covered this in my latest video.
Yes, and Jim, that's in my next comment here, is talking about your video. And I watched it, and very well done. I really like how you did that, Jim. And I have questions for you. So yesterday in chat, he said, now having said that, new video in response to Seldom Ball question from Saturday. And my questions, let's see, that was an MBR partition type, unsupported hardware, and with Rufus. Now here, I noticed that you had a large recovery partition. It was like 700, 800 megabytes, somewhere around there. Could it possibly be a problem if the partition is at the default size of a Windows 10 recovery partition? Because I don't think Windows 10 defaulted to that large. Then another question is, on that computer that you had done that, had you done the procedure to increase the size of the recovery partition before you installed Windows 11 on that unsupported hardware? That's not certainly not a criticism at all, but I would like to know whether you had done that procedure. But it was a very, very well done video. I recommend everybody watch that. Let's see, why do I have that? Let's get rid of that. Let's go back to chat. Why is it not coming up? There it is. Jim says, yes, could be, but any partition software can change it. Yeah, so it could be that he had increased the size of that partition previously. Don't go back and do it again, Jim. I don't know if it's going to be a frequent enough of a thing for anyone to care. Oh, he says, no, I did not change the size of the recovery partition on that machine. Well, it had a large recovery partition. So if a computer doesn't have a large recovery partition, that might be a complication. Ran Israel, on that topic, if you make an image backup and upgrade to Windows 11, then restore the original backup, does the original Windows 10 license remain valid since it was used to activate Windows 11? Yes, it does. It's a digital license. That digital license will work for either Windows 10 or Windows 11. So yes, you can go back. Oh, and on a related question I think came up recently is I tried with Macrim Reflect to increase the size of the recovery partition, and you cannot do that when restoring. What happens is you get a message from Macrim Reflect saying that only non-something partitions can be resized. So I tried individually taking the partitions and resizing that recovery partition, and no, Macrim Reflect on a restore operation will not do that. Jim going to lunch later, Gator. Thank you, Jim. What else do I have in chat here? Seldom Ball says, I want to procrastinate as long as reasonable so as to get an inexpensive system that has reasonable support for an AI image
The
generation.
recovery partition can resize to the left. Other partitions can be resized to the right.
The recovery partition can be resized to the left. Other partition, well, I'll try that. I don't think that is true. During a Macrim Reflect restore operation, I didn't try making it larger to the left. But I don't think it can. I'll try that variation. Seldom Ball, yeah, I see no reason to object to that. I think procrastinating as long as reasonable to buy a computer that is supported for Windows 11, and the cost is going to go down. Now, one marginal risk might be you don't know what the marketplace is going to be like that. If there's high demand, because a lot of people doing that, they might not be as cheap as you would expect, but it's still most likely going to be better than it is today as far as how much computer you get for the dollar. And image generation and inexpensive don't belong in the, AI, image generation and inexpensive don't belong in the same sentence. Well, I will defend Seldom Ball there. Get an inexpensive system compared to an expensive system. I think the thinking there is reasonable, and this comment from Jim is just kind of in general. Yeah, but you can pay less for a computer. It's not going to be top of the line for AI image generation. So I'll squirm a little bit at accepting that phrase. Selden, that's true today, but built-in AI chips seem to be on the horizon, though probably not with the performance of the 4090. I'll concur with that. Long Dog, the chances of his friend got hacked and they went through his email and collected all his email friends and sent out more email of their scam. This is in connection to that client that I had that put in his account credentials and was at risk of his email account being taken over. But the reason why I wanted to capture this is that I recently had an email from our local airports manager. The airports manager received a list of our aviation club members so that he could send a direct mail out to them. He sent them all as a carbon copy, so everybody could see all of the addresses. And that is something that's very objectionable. This was a person who did not know better. The reason why that's a bad thing to do, like if you find, well, I haven't seen this happen in a long time, but people will send out jokes to a long list of email addresses that they have, everybody that's in their contacts list. That's a very, very irresponsible thing to do, because one of those computers, it only takes one of those computers out there to be compromised, to have an email account that's taken over by these email scam artists, and let's just call them criminals. That gives them all of these people that you know or are connected to you, and then they can do whatever evil deeds that they want to do with that. If you're sending out to a long list of people, more than just like I have clients who will carbon copy to people within their organization, and so the people receiving the email can see who's involved in this conversation. But that's not going to people outside of their organization, to a long list of club members. No, please do not send carbon copy. You could use the BCC field for blind carbon copy. That way the recipients don't see all the email addresses and the criminals don't see all the email addresses. Yeah, Gary comes in with BCC before he knew that I was going to include that. So that's really the reason why I grabbed that comment, because I wanted to say that. I haven't said that in a long, long time. From Zavi to Jim, he said, I managed to install 24H2 on unsupported PC, but when it first reboot, during the installation, no more continuing. Got stuck on a black Windows with the blue Windows
Can
symbol
Minitool do it
logo.
with bootable USB?
Chris Garrett is asking, can Minitool do it with bootable USB? I'm assuming that you mean, can Minitool increase the size of the recovery partition? I'm pretty sure it would be able to do that. I haven't been using Minitool, but that's one of the things that it does, I believe, is resize partitions. So yeah, it should be able to resize the recovery partition. As far as I know, somebody else might counter that. But that covers, well, almost everything. No, I'm not going to do that one today. Yeah, that covers everything. So have a great Tuesday, everybody. Catch you at another time. Goodbye.
Read chat please.